A mother collapses in a crowded auditorium, clutching a magazine with her long-lost daughter's face. Will their reunion heal old wounds? Like and subscribe to catch this gripping tale and our latest videos. Eleanor's scream tore through the boutique as her shopping bags crashed, glass perfume bottles exploding on the marble floor. Her eyes were glued to a Vogue cover. Zara Monroe, a black woman with a jagged birthmark on her forehead, glared back. Eleanor's knees buckled, her hand clawing the magazine rack to keep from collapsing. It was her daughter, the one she'd abandoned in a hospital crib 25 years ago, under Alabama's suffocating heat. Her heart thundered, drowning out the clerk's frantic, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Memories surged like a flood. Her lover's gentle touch, her father's fist slamming the table, the hissed command to get rid of it. At 19, she'd been too weak, too scared, leaving her newborn with a whispered, "I'm sorry." Now, Zara was a supernova, a model whose face dominated billboards and screens. Eleanor snatched the magazine, hands shaking so violently the pages tore. She stumbled out, ignoring the stairs, and collapsed onto a bench, the Atlanta sun searing her skin. The article was a gut punch. Zara, 25, adopted by a wealthy couple, now a fashion icon and activist. But her words were venom. "My birth mother left me to rot," Zara had told a podcast, her voice sharp as a blade. "She's dead to me." Eleanor's breath caught, guilt and desperation clawing her insides. She'd buried this secret, crafting a life as Atlanta's modeling agency queen. But now the past was a live grenade. Her phone buzzed as she typed Zara's name, fingers fumbling. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Zara's life spilled across her screen. Runway clips showed her strutting, fierce, and untouchable. Interviews revealed her fire. "I don't need a mother who threw me away," she'd snapped at a gala, eyes flashing. Eleanor's stomach churned, but she couldn't look away. A new video popped up, Zara's voice cold. "If she's out there, I hope she chokes on her shame." The words were a slap, yet Eleanor kept digging, her pulse a war drum. She found Zara's scheduler book launch in New York, 2 days away. Her hands moved before her mind caught up, booking a flight, a hotel, a ticket to the event. She told herself she'd stay hidden, just see her daughter, absorb the hate from afar. But Zara's voice echoed, "She's dead to me." Back at her penthouse, Eleanor paced, the magazine splayed on her glass table, Zara's face accusing her. Sleep was impossible. She poured a whiskey, then another, the burn doing nothing to dull the ache. She opened a locked drawer, pulling out a faded hospital bracelet, the only proof of that night. Her fingers traced the ink baby girl, no name. Tears fell, but she shoved the bracelet back, slamming the drawer. By dawn, she was at the airport, her suitcase a lead weight. Doubt screamed at her to turn back. Zara's hatred was a wall unbreakable. But that birthmark, those eyes, were a siren call. She boarded the plane, her heart a ticking bomb. New York hit her like a fisthorns blaring, crowds shoving. She checked into a midtown hotel, the event ticket burning in her purse. She stood at the window, the city's lights pulsing below, her nerves frayed. Tomorrow she'd see Zara, not as a mother, but as a ghost risking annihilation. She rehearsed words she'd never say, knowing Zara would sooner spit than listen. The thought twisted her gut, but she was in too deep. She opened the magazine again, Zara's eyes boring into her. A sob escaped, raw and ugly. She'd abandoned her daughter to save herself, but now she was charging into the fire. The hotel room suffocated her. She grabbed her coat and hit the streets, Manhattan's chaos matching her mind. A newsstand caught her eye, Zara's face on another magazine, this one with a headline, "Zara Monroe, the past fuels my fire." Eleanor bought it, hands trembling, and ducked into a diner. Over bitter coffee, she read Zara's story again, each word a lash. A television in the corner flickered, Zara's face filling the screen, her voice cutting through the noise. "I owe my birth mother nothing." Eleanor's cup slipped, coffee spilling. The waitress rushed over, but Eleanor waved her off, her eyes locked on the screen. Back at the hotel, she showered, the water scalding, as if it could burn away regret. She dressed carefully neutral, invisible to blend into the crowd. The mirror showed a woman unraveling, but she clenched her jaw. She grabbed her bag, the ticket, and headed to the venue. The streets were a blur. Zara's name on posters, banners, lips. Eleanor's throat tightened as she slipped inside, finding a seat in the back. The auditorium buzzed, anticipation thick. The lights dimmed, and her pulse spiked. Zara would appear any second, and Eleanor would face the daughter who despised her, no matter the cost. Her hands gripped the magazine, now creased and worn, as the stage lit up and the crowd roared. The auditorium's roar swallowed Eleanor's ragged breaths as Zara Monroe stepped onto the stage, her presence electric. The crowd surged, phones flashing, but Eleanor shrank into her back row seat, the creased Vogue magazine clutched like a lifeline. Zara's voice cut through the noise, confident, commanding, as she spoke about her memoir, Fire Forged. Eleanor's heart pounded, her eyes tracing the birthmark on Zara's forehead, a mark she'd kissed once before fleeing. She'd come to New York to see her daughter, to stand in the shadows of a life she'd abandoned. But now, with Zara so close, the urge to reach out clawed at her. She gripped the armrest, nails digging in, knowing Zara's hatred was a wall she couldn't breach. The speech ended, and the crowd mobbed the signing table. Eleanor stood, legs unsteady, and joined the line, her pulse a jackhammer. She rehearsed silent words. "I'm sorry, I was young. I was weak knowing they'd never leave her lips." As she inched closer, Zara's laughter rang out, signing books with a radiant smile. Eleanor's throat tightened. She was 10 people away, then 5, then 1. Zara looked up, her eyes locking onto Eleanor's. The smile vanished. "You," Zara hissed, her voice low, venomous. "Get out." Eleanor froze, the book in her hands trembling. "I just wanted," she started, but Zara cut her off. "Security," she snapped, and 2 burly guards materialized, grabbing Eleanor's arms. The crowd parted, whispers rippling. "She's nobody," Zara said, loud enough for all to hear. "Get her out of here." Eleanor's face burned as the guards dragged her toward the exit, her heels scraping the floor. She twisted, catching Zara's gaze one last time, pure contempt. The doors slammed behind her, the cold Manhattan air hitting like a slap. She stumbled to the sidewalk, chest heaving, the magazine still in her grip. She'd expected rejection, but not this raw, public humiliation. Yet, she couldn't leave. Not yet. She ducked into an alley across the street, watching the venue's entrance. Hours passed, her legs cramping, but she stayed, driven by a need she couldn't name. As the crowd thinned, Zara emerged, flanked by her team, heading for a black SUV. Eleanor's eyes snagged on a man lingering near Beitel, hooded, his movements too deliberate. He followed Zara's group, keeping to the shadows. Eleanor's gut twisted. She'd spent years reading people in the cutthroat modeling world. This guy was trouble. She trailed him, heart racing, staying out of sight. The man stopped, pulling out a phone, his voice low but audible. "She's leaving now. You want it done tonight?" Eleanor's blood ran cold. She fumbled for her phone, hands shaking, and snapped a blurry photo of the man before he vanished into a side street. Zara's SUV sped off, oblivious. Eleanor leaned against a wall, breath shallow, mind racing. Who was after Zara? And why? She opened her phone, scrolling through Zara's social media for clues. Post after post showed Zara's Riser runways, campaigns, her activism for foster kids. But one comment caught her eye, buried in a thread. "You'll pay for what you said, Monroe." It was anonymous, but the malice was clear. Eleanor's fingers flew, searching for more. She found a pattern cryptic threats on Zara's posts, all from burner accounts. Someone was targeting her daughter, and Zara didn't seem to know. Eleanor's first instinct was to call the police, but what proof did she have? A blurry photo and some comments? They'd laugh her off, especially after Zara's public rejection. She needed more. She hailed a cab, directing it to her hotel, her mind a storm. In her room, she spread out the magazine, her phone and a notepad, piecing together what she'd seen. The man's voice replayed in her head. "You want it done tonight?" She couldn't wait. She opened her laptop, diving into Zara's world. News articles mentioned rivals in the fashion industry, jealous designers, even a lawsuit Zara had filed against a shady agency. Any of them could want her silenced. Eleanor's eyes burned, but she kept digging, her coffee going cold. By 3 a.m., she'd found a name, Vincent Cole, a disgraced agent Zara had exposed for exploiting models. He'd lost everything and vanished. Could it be him? She cross-referenced the threats, finding one account linked to a Manhattan IP address. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Dawn broke, painting the city gold. Eleanor hadn't slept, her body wired on adrenaline. She dressed, grabbed her phone, and headed out, determined to warn Zara. She knew Zara would slam the door in her face, but she had to try. She tracked down Zara's hotel, a sleek tower in Soho, and slipped into the lobby, blending with the morning crowd. She spotted Zara's assistant, a wiry man named Leo, at the concierge desk. Eleanor approached, her voice steady despite her nerves. "I need to speak to Zara. It's urgent." Leo's eyes narrowed. "You're the woman from last night. She doesn't want you here." Eleanor leaned in, lowering her voice. "Someone's after her. I saw a man following her. Check her social media, there are threats." Leo scoffed but hesitated, glancing at his phone. "Stay here," he muttered, stepping away to make a call. Eleanor waited, her pulse spiking as hotel security eyed her. Minutes later, Leo returned, his face grim. "She's not seeing you. Leave, or I call the cops." Eleanor's jaw clenched, but she nodded, slipping out. On the street she spotted the same hooded man from last night, now across from the hotel, watching. Her blood surged. She couldn't reach Zara, but she could follow him. She tailed him through the city, her heart in her throat, knowing she was diving deeper into danger but unable to stop. Zara's life was at stake, and Eleanor would face hell itself to protect her, even if her daughter despised her. Eleanor's breath hitched as she trailed the hooded man through Manhattan's crowded streets, her pulse hammering like a war drum. The city's pulse-honking cabs, shouting vendors blurred into static as she kept her eyes locked on his dark figure, weaving through pedestrians. Zara's hotel loomed 2 blocks away, where her daughter, oblivious to the danger, was likely preparing for another press event. Eleanor's phone buzzed in her pocket, but she ignored it, her focus razor-sharp. The man she'd seen last night, the one whispering threats into his phone, was closing in on Zara's world, and Eleanor was the only one who saw it coming. She'd tried warning Zara's assistant Leo, but the door had been slammed in her face. Zara's hatred was a steel trap, but Eleanor wouldn't back down, not when her daughter's life was at stake. The man ducked into a side street, and Eleanor followed, her flat silent on the pavement. Her heart surged as he stopped, glancing back. She pressed herself against a dumpster, its stench choking her, and held her breath. He didn't see her. He pulled out his phone, muttering, "She's at the plaza tonight. I'll handle it." Eleanor's blood ran cold. The Plaza Zara's next event, a charity gala, was public knowledge. She fumbled for her phone, snapping another blurry shot of the man before he moved on. Her hands shook, but she steadied them, texting Leo. "Man following Zara. Gala tonight. Check her security." No reply. She cursed under her breath and kept moving, tailing the man to a rundown diner. He slid into a booth, meeting another figure shorter, wiry face obscured by a cap. Eleanor slipped inside, grabbing a seat near the counter, her back to them. The waitress barely glanced at her as she ordered coffee, her ears straining to catch their words. "Cole wants it clean," the hooded man said. "No witnesses." Eleanor's grip tightened on her mug. Vincent Cole, the name she'd found last night, the disgraced agent Zara had ruined. This was no coincidence. She needed to warn Zara now. She paid and slipped out, her mind racing. At the plaza, preparations for the gala were in full swing. Caterers, florists, security in black suits. Eleanor spotted Leo near the entrance, barking orders. She pushed through the crowd, dodging a tray of champagne flutes, and grabbed his arm. "Leo, listen, someone's targeting Zara tonight. I heard them. Vincent Cole's behind it." Leo yanked his arm free, eyes flashing. "You again? Zara told you to stay away. You're obsessed." Eleanor's voice rose, desperate. "Check her phone. She's getting threats. I saw the guy following her." Leo's jaw clenched, but he pulled out his phone, scrolling. His face paled. "She got a message this morning. You'll pay at the plaza." She thought it was a prank. Eleanor's stomach dropped. "It's not. Where is she?" Leo hesitated, then muttered, "Upstairs, getting ready. But she won't see you." Eleanor didn't wait. She bolted for the hotel's service entrance, slipping past a distracted guard. The stairwell echoed with her footsteps as she climbed, her chest burning. On the penthouse floor she found Zara's suite, guarded by a single man. She straightened, channeling her old boardroom steel. "I'm with her team. Leo sent me." The guard frowned but stepped aside. Eleanor knocked, her heart in her throat. The door swung open, and Zara stood there, stunning in a crimson gown, her eyes narrowing. "You," she spat. "How dare you?" Eleanor raised her hands. "Zara, you're in danger. Someone's coming for you tonight. Vincent Colahey's sending men." Zara's laugh was sharp, cutting. "You're pathetic. Using lies to worm your way in? Get out." She shoved Eleanor back, the door slamming. Eleanor stumbled, tears stinging, but she caught a glimpse through the closing door Zara's phone on the table, a new message flashing. "See you at the gala." Eleanor's blood surged. She couldn't stay. She raced downstairs back to the plaza, her mind a storm. The gala was starting, guests streaming in. She scanned the crowd, spotting the hooded man near a service exit, his hand in his jacket. Her pulse spiked. She had no weapon, no plan, but she moved, weaving through the crowd. The man slipped into an alley behind the plaza, and Eleanor followed, her breath shallow. The alley was dark, littered with crates and trash. She heard footsteps, then a clicker blade flicking open. She dove behind a crate as the man turned, his eyes glinting. "Who's there?" he growled. Eleanor's heart pounded, but she grabbed a broken bottle from the ground, its jagged edge her only defense. He lunged, and she swung, the bottle smashing against his arm. He cursed, dropping the knife, but his fist caught her jaw, sending her sprawling. Pain exploded, but she scrambled up, kicking the knife away. He charged again, and she threw herself at him, tackling him into a pile of crates. Wood splintered, and he groaned, pinned. "Who sent you?" she screamed, pressing the bottle's edge to his throat. "Cole," he gasped. "He wants her scared." Eleanor's vision blurred with rage, but headlights flooded the Aliyah security van. The man shoved her off, bolting into the dark. Guards poured out, shouting, but Eleanor was already up, running back to the plaza. She had to find Zara, had to make her listen. Inside, the gala was in full swing, Zara on stage, radiant, unaware. Eleanor pushed through the crowd, her jaw throbbing, blood trickling from a cut. She reached Leo, gasping. "It's Cole. I fought his guy. Check the exits." Leo's eyes widened, and he signaled security. Eleanor collapsed into a chair, her body screaming, but her mind was clear. Zara didn't want her, but Eleanor would protect her, even if it killed her. The gala's lights blazed, but danger was closing in, and Eleanor was running out of time. Eleanor's jaw throbbed as she stumbled out of the plaza's chaos, the gala's lights fading behind her. Blood crusted her lip from the alley fight, her clothes torn, but the pain was nothing compared to the fire in her chest. She'd faced down a thug sent by Vincent Cole, confirmed he was targeting Zara, but her daughter still saw her as a liar. Security had swarmed the alley, but the man had vanished, and Eleanor had no proof, just a bruised face and a name. She flagged a cab, her hands shaking as she sank into the seat, the driver eyeing her warily. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, notifications flooding in. She glanced at the screen, and her stomach dropped. A video was trending on Twitter, grainy footage of her tackling the thug, crates splintering, her scream echoing. The caption read, "Crazy woman attacks man at Zara Monroe's gala." Comments poured in, vicious and swift. "Who is she?" "Some stalker obsessed with Zara." "Lock her up." Eleanor's throat tightened, her breath shallow. The video had millions of views, her face plastered across the internet. She muted her phone, but the cab's radio blared a news report. "Mystery woman disrupts Monroe's charity event, raising questions about her motives." She slammed her fist against the seat, startling the driver. Back at her hotel, she locked the door, her body screaming for rest, but her mind was a storm. She splashed water on her face, the mirror showing a stranger swollen jaw, wild eyes. The television flickered on, and Zara's face filled the screen, mid-interview on a morning show. "She's nobody," Zara said, her voice ice cold. "Some woman claiming to know me, causing trouble. I want her gone." The host pressed. "Is she connected to the threats you've received?" Zara's eyes flashed. "She's the problem. She's been harassing me since my book launch. Stay away from me." Eleanor's knees buckled, and she sank to the floor. the remote slipping from her hand. Her daughter's words were a blade, twisting deeper than the thug's fist. She'd fought to protect Zara, taken a beating, and now she was the villain. Her phone buzzed again, texts from colleagues, clients, even her assistant. "Is this you in the video? What's going on?" Her life in Atlanta, her reputation as a modeling agency titan, was unraveling. She wanted to scream, to disappear, but Zara's safety was all that mattered. She dragged herself to her laptop, the screen's glow harsh. She rewatched the alley footage, pausing on the thug's face, his features blurry but distinct scar on his cheek, crooked nose. She cross-referenced it with her notes on Vincent Cole. The disgraced agent had vanished after Zara exposed his scams, but whispers online tied him to a shady nightclub in Brooklyn. It was a lead, thin, but real. She searched Zara's social media, finding new threats buried in the noise. "You'll regret the gala, Monroe. Cole sends his regards." Her pulse spiked. Cole wasn't just after Zara, he was escalating. Eleanor grabbed her coat, ignoring the ache in her ribs. She couldn't go to the police, they'd arrest her as a stalker, thanks to Zara's interview. She had to find Cole herself. She took the subway to Brooklyn, the train's rattle matching her nerves. The nightclub, Neon Pulse, was a dive, its neon sign flickering. She slipped inside, the bass thumping, bodies packed tight. Her bruised face drew stares, but she kept her hood up, scanning the crowd. A man at the bar matched the thug's build-scarred cheek, nursing a drink. She edged closer, heart pounding, and overheard him mutter to a bartender, "Cole's meeting the boss tonight. Big plans for Monroe." Eleanor's blood surged. She needed proof. She followed the thug as he left, weaving through Brooklyn's dark streets. He led her to a warehouse, its windows boarded. She crouched behind a rusted car, watching him slip inside. Voices echoed Cole's name, Zara's, something about shutting her up for good. Eleanor's hands shook as she recorded on her phone, the audio faint but damning. She crept closer, peering through a cracked window. Cole was there, a gaunt, grey-haired, pacing as he barked orders. "She's too loud, too nosy. We end this now." Eleanor's heart raced. She had evidence, but not enough to stop him. She needed to get to Zara, to make her listen. As she backed away, her foot hit a can, the clang echoing. A shout rang out, "Who's there?" and footsteps pounded toward her. She ran, legs burning, dodging through alleys. A gunshot cracked, the bullet grazing a wall beside her. She dove behind a dumpster, her breath ragged, as Cole's men found out, searching. Her phone buzzed. Leo, finally. "Zara's getting more threats. Where are you?" She texted back, hands trembling. "Warehouse in Brooklyn. Vincent Cole. I have proof." She sent the audio clip, praying Leo would act. Headlights swept the alley, and she bolted, her lungs screaming. She reached a main street, blending into the crowd, her body bruised but unbroken. Zara's interview still burned, the world's judgment crushing, but Eleanor had a name, a place, a fight. She hailed a cab, directing it to Zara's hotel, knowing she'd face another rejection. The city blurred past, danger closing in. Cole was steps ahead, and Zara was a target, whether she believed it or not. Eleanor's hands clenched, her resolve steel. She'd save her daughter, even if the world and Zara hated her for it. Eleanor's cab screeched to a stop outside Zara's hotel, her pulse a relentless hammer as she shoved crumpled bills at the driver. The city's neon glow blurred, her bruised body screaming from the Brooklyn chase, but Vincent Cole's voice echoed in her head. "End this now." She'd sent Leo the warehouse audio, but no reply came. Zara was still a target, and Eleanor was out of time. The hotel lobby buzzed with late-night guests, but she slipped past, her torn coat and swollen jaw drawing glances. She needed more than a shaky recording to stop Kolesh. Needed hard proof. Her search last night had pinned his operations to a high-rise in Manhattan's garment district, a front for his shady deals. If she could get inside, find his plans, she could force Zara to listen, hatred or not. She hailed another cab, the driver's radio blaring Zara's latest interview. "That woman's a danger to me." Eleanor's jaw clenched, the words a fresh wound, but she pushed them down. The high-rise loomed, its glass facade glinting under streetlights. She slipped into an alley, spotting a service entrance. The lock was flimsy. Years in the modeling world had taught her how to read a building's weak spots. She pried it open with a scavenged wire, her hand steady despite the ache in her ribs. Inside, the basement was a maze of crates and humming pipes. She climbed a stairwell, her flat silent, until she reached the 15th floor Cole's office, according to an online tip. The hallway was dark, save for a flickering exit sign. She tested the door locked, but the keypad glowed. She tried Monroe, too obvious. Zara, nothing. Then, revenge. The lock clicked. Her heart surged as she slipped inside. The office sleek but cluttered, papers strewn across a desk, a laptop humming. She rifled through files, finding contracts, bank transfers, and a photo of Zara circled in red. Her breath caught a hit list, Zara's name at the top, with dates and locations, including tonight's gala. Cole wasn't just scaring her, he was planning murder. She stuffed the papers in her coat, then cracked the laptop's password same as the door. Emails loaded, one from Cole to an unknown contact. Monroe's done tonight. Payment wired. Eleanor's hands shook as she copied the files to a USB drive from her pocket. A noise footsteps jerked her head up. She ducked under the desk, heart pounding, as the door swung open. Two men entered. One, the scarred thug from the alley. Boss said, "Check the office," he growled. "Someone's been sniffing around." Eleanor held her breath, the USB burning in her hand. The men scanned the room, boots inches from her. A phone rang, and the thug answered. "Yeah, Cole's at the plaza. She's there now." Eleanor's blood froze. Zara was at the gala, unprotected. The men left, but the door's lock clicked, trapping her. She scrambled out, trying the handle jammed. Panic surged, but she spotted a vent above the desk. She climbed, prying it open with a letter opener, and crawled inside, the metal cold against her skin. The shaft was tight, dust choking her, but she pushed forward, her bruised body protesting. The vent led to another office, empty. She kicked the grate free, dropping to the floor, and sprinted for the stairwell. Alarms blared someone had tripped security. Footsteps thundered below, Cole's men closing in. She bolted down, her lungs burning, and burst into the lobby, only to freeze. Zara stood there, radiant in a silver dress, arguing with Leo. "I'm fine," Zara snapped. "Stop babying me." Her eyes flicked to Eleanor, widening. "You?" she hissed, storming over. "What are you doing here?" Eleanor thrust the papers at her. "Vincent Cole's trying to kill you. I found proof his plan's your name." Zara's face twisted. "You're insane. Leave me alone." She shoved the papers back, scattering them. Leo grabbed Eleanor's arm, but she yanked free, desperation surging. "Zara, please, he's at the plaza now." Zara turned away, but Leo hesitated, picking up a page the hit list. His face paled. "She might be right," he muttered. Zara spun, furious. "She's a liar." Guards approached, drawn by the commotion. Eleanor backed away, her heart splintering, but the USB was safe in her pocket. She slipped out, alarms still wailing, and ran into the night. Cole's men were close. She'd seen their shadows in the stairwell. She ducked into a subway station, blending with the crowd, her breath ragged. The papers were gone, but the USB held everything. Emails, plans, proof Cole was hunting Zara. She checked her phone still, no word from Leo. Zara's rejection burned, but Eleanor's resolve was iron. She boarded a train, heading for the plaza, knowing Cole was there, waiting. The subway's rumble matched her pulse as she replayed Zara's face hatred. Yes, but a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Eleanor clung to that, her hands gripping the USB. She'd get to Zara, stop Cole, even if it meant facing his men again. The train lurched, and she steadied herself, the city's underbelly speeding past. Cole's world was closing in, and Eleanor was diving deeper, a mother fighting for a daughter who despised her, with nothing but evidence and grit to keep her alive. Eleanor's lungs burned as she sprinted through Manhattan's streets, the USB drive in her pocket a ticking bomb of evidence against Vincent Cole. The plaza's lights blazed ahead, where Zara was headlining a Fashion Week after-party, unaware that Cole's men were closing in. Eleanor's ribs ached from the office break-in, her jaw still swollen, but Zara's rejection, those venomous words, "You're insane," fueled her. She'd seen the hit list, Cole's emails, his plan to end Zara tonight. The subway had been too slow. She ditched it, running through crowds, her torn coat flapping. Her phone buzzed Leo finally. Zara's at the rooftop event. Security's tight, but something's off. Eleanor texted back. Cole's men are there. Get her out. No reply. She cursed, dodging a cyclist, and reached the plaza's towering venue. The lobby swarmed with models, designers, and paparazzi, the air thick with perfume and champagne. She slipped past a distracted guard, her heart pounding, and took the service elevator to the rooftop. The doors opened to a glittering scene light strung across a glass terrace, Zara radiant on a stage, mid-speech. Eleanor scanned the crowd, spotting the scarred thug from Cole's crew near a bar, his hand in his jacket. Her pulse spiked. She moved, weaving through guests, but froze as Zara's voice faltered. A scream pierced the air. Masked men three, armed, burst from a side entrance, guns raised. Nobody move, one barked. Zara's security lunged, but shots rang out, dropping 2 guards. Panic erupted, guests scrambling, tables overturning. Eleanor dove behind a planter, her breath shallow, as the lead gunman grabbed Zara, yanking her off the stage. "You're coming with us, Monroe," he snarled. Zara fought, clawing his face, but he slammed her against a wall, zip-tying her wrists. Eleanor's blood roared. She had no weapon, no backup. But she couldn't wait. The gunman dragged Zara toward a service stairwell, the crowd too chaotic to stop them. Eleanor followed, her flats silent on the polished floor, slipping into the stairwell as the door swung shut. The men's boots echoed below, Zara's muffled curses breaking through. Eleanor descended, her hands gripping the railing, every bruise screaming. At the basement, she peered around a corner. The gunman shoved Zara into a black van, its engine idling in a loading dock. Cole stood there, gaunt and smirking, a pistol in hand. "You made this personal, Monroe," he said. Zara spat at him, earning a backhand that snapped her head back. Eleanor's fists clenched, rage drowning fear. She scanned the dock pipes, crates, a fire extinguisher on the wall. She crept forward, grabbing the extinguisher, its weight heavy but steadying. The van's doors slammed, and Cole climbed in, barking, "Drive!" Eleanor sprinted, adrenaline surging, and smashed the extinguisher into the driver's window. Glass shattered, the driver swearing as she sprayed foam into his face. He swerved, the van crashing into a crate. Eleanor yanked the door open, pulling the driver out and slamming his head against the pavement. Gunshots cracked, bullets pinging off metal. She ducked, rolling behind a crate as Cole's men fired. Zara's voice rang out, "Let me go," and Eleanor peeked, seeing her kick a gunman in the knee. Eleanor seized the moment, charging the nearest thug, swinging the extinguisher into his skull. He dropped, his gun skittering. She grabbed it, hands shaking, and fired at the second gunman, clipping his shoulder. He roared, diving for cover. Cole leapt from the van, his pistol aimed at Eleanor. "You," he sneered, recognizing her, "the stalker, Mom." Eleanor dove behind a pipe, bullets sparking around her. "Zara, run!" she shouted. Zara, wrists still bound, scrambled out, ducking behind a crate. Cole advanced, his gun steady. "You're both dead," he growled. Eleanor's mind raced. She was outmatched, outgunned, but the dock sprinkler system caught her eye, a valve within reach. She lunged, twisting it hard. Water exploded, drenching the dock, the floor slick. Cole slipped, cursing, his shot going wild. Eleanor tackled him, the gun flying from his hand. They grappled, her nails raking his face, his fist catching her ribs. Pain flared, but she held on, slamming his head against the concrete. He went limp, blood pooling. The remaining gunman charged, but Zara, free now, grabbed a pipe and swung, cracking his jaw. He crumpled. Sirens wailed outside. Leo must have called the cops. Eleanor staggered to her feet, gasping, blood dripping from a gash on her arm. Zara stood, pipe in hand, staring at her. "Why?" Zara demanded, voice raw. "Why risk this?" Eleanor's throat tightened. "Because you're my daughter." Zara's eyes flickered anger, confusion. Something softer, but she turned away as police stormed in, shouting orders. Eleanor dropped the gun, hands raised, her body collapsing against a crate. Cuffs snapped on her wrists, the cops mistaking her for one of Cole's crew. Zara watched, silent, as Eleanor was led away, the USB still in her pocket, Cole's plans exposed. The dock spun, pain and exhaustion crashing in, but Eleanor's gaze stayed on Zara, alive, unbroken. She'd saved her, even if Zara's heart remained a fortress. The police van's doors slammed, and Eleanor's world went dark, her fight far from over. The police van's doors slammed. Eleanor's wrists raw from the cuffs as it sped through Manhattan. Her arm bled, ribs cracked from Cole's dogfight, but she'd saved Zara, the USB drive still in her pocket. Sirens wailed outside, and the van lurched to a stop. Leo's voice cut through. "She's not with them." He waved her phone, the warehouse audio blaring. Cops yanked the cuffs off, shoving her toward an ambulance. Eleanor staggered, pain searing, and glimpsed Zara with paramedics, blanket-wrapped, staring back. "Hospital now," a cop barked. Medics strapped her in, the ambulance racing, but Eleanor's mind churned. Cole was loose, his safe-house plan on the USB. At the ER, doctors stitched her up, but she tore out the IV, grabbing her coat. The USB burned in her pocket. She snuck to a hospital computer, pulling up Cole's email. "Safe house, midnight, finish Monroe." It was 11:20 p.m. Zara's team had moved her to a Chelsea loft. Eleanor bolted, ignoring nurses' shouts, and hailed a cab, barking the address. The driver floored it, weaving through traffic. Eleanor's stitches pulled, blood seeping, but she gripped the seat, Cole's threat looping in her head. The loft's lobby guard waved her up after a flashed ID. She sprinted upstairs, finding the door ajar. Leo was on the phone, Zara pacing, arguing, "I don't need babysitting." Then, a shadow Cole's scarred thug, knife out, slipping through a back door. Eleanor grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and swung, cracking his skull. He dropped, knife clattering. Zara screamed, "What the hell?" Leo tackled the thug, zip-tying him. Glass shattered a second man, gun drawn, climbing through a window. Eleanor shoved Zara behind a couch as bullets ripped through. "Stay down," she yelled. The gunman charged, firing. Eleanor dove, grabbing the knife, and slashed his ankle. He stumbled and she tackled him, slamming his head against the floor. He swung, his elbow cracking her jaw. Pain exploded, but she held on, twisting his arm until he dropped the gun. Zara leapt up, grabbing a lamp and smashing it into his back. He collapsed, out cold. Sirens blared, police storming in. Eleanor slumped, blood pooling, her vision fading. Zara grabbed her, shouting, "Why do you keep doing this?" Eleanor gasped, "You're my daughter." Cops pulled them apart, cuffing the gunman. Medics rushed Eleanor back to the hospital, her body screaming. She woke in a sterile room, monitors beeping, pain a dull roar. Zara stood by the bed, clutching the USB, face hard. "Leo gave this to the cops," she said. "Cole's men are locked up. He's gone for now." Eleanor's voice croaked. "I had to." Zara cut her off, voice sharp. "Don't. You think this fixes anything? You left me." Eleanor's chest tightened. "I was wrong. I'm trying." "Trying?" Zara snapped, stepping closer. "You show up, cause chaos, and expect what? Forgiveness? You're a stranger." Eleanor pushed herself up, wincing. "I almost died for you. Twice. Hate me, but I'm not leaving." Zara's fists clenched. "You don't get to decide that. You lost me years ago." Leo burst in, phone in hand. "Zara, the press is outside. They're calling her a hero." Zara spun, furious. "Hero? She's why this happened. She brought Cole." Eleanor's voice hardened. "Cole was after you before I came. Check the USB's plans go back months." Zara grabbed the drive, shoving it at Leo. "Verify it." She glared at Eleanor. "If you're lying, I'll make sure you're locked up." Leo hesitated. "Zara, she saved you. The audio, the fight, she's not the enemy." Zara's voice cracked. "She's not my mother either." Eleanor leaned forward. "Pain be damned. I know I failed you, but I'm here now, fighting. Throw me out. I'll still fight." Zara's eyes flashed, tears brimming. "Why can't you just disappear?" She stormed out, slamming the door. Leo stayed, scrolling his phone. "She's wrong. The USB checks out. Cole targeted her long before you." Eleanor sank back, exhaustion hitting. "She'll never forgive me." Leo shrugged. "She's here, isn't she? That's something." Nurses bustled in, checking her wounds. Eleanor's phone buzzed a news alert. Monroe's savior, stalker or protector. She ignored it, Zara's words burning. "Disappear." But she'd seen the crack in Zara's armor, the tremor in her voice. Cole was still out there, his network crippled but not dead. Eleanor's hand gripped the bed rail, her body broken but her fight alive. The hospital's hum faded as she planned her next move, knowing Zara's heart was a battlefield she'd storm again, no matter the cost. Eleanor's hospital bed creaked as she shifted, the bandages on her arm itching under the fluorescent lights. 2 weeks since the safe house fight, her ribs still ached, but the pain was nothing compared to the weight of Zara's last words. Why can't you just disappear? Yet, Zara had stayed, lingered, and that crack in her armor kept Eleanor fighting. The USB had crippled. Vincent Cole's network, his men were in jail, his plans exposed. But Cole himself was a ghost, vanished into the city's shadows. Eleanor's phone buzzed with a text from Leo. Zara wants to meet. Noon, her studio. Her pulse quickened. She checked out, ignoring the nurse's warnings, and took a cab to Soho, the city's hum, a faint pulse against her nerves. Zara's studio was a loft, walls lined with sketches and fabric swatches. Zara stood by a window, arms crossed, her expression guarded. "The cops have Cole's files," she said, voice flat. "You were right. He'd been after me for months." Eleanor nodded, her throat tight. "I'm glad you're safe." Zara's eyes narrowed. I'm not ready for your apologies, but you saved my life. Twice." She paused, jaw tight. "I'm starting a campaign for single mothers, abandoned kids. I want you in it." Eleanor's breath caught. "Why?" Zara's voice hardened. "Because you owe me, and them." Eleanor agreed, no hesitation, and they dove into work, tension thick but purpose clear. Days blurred meetings, fundraisers, late nights planning. Eleanor's wounds healed, but Zara's distance lingered, their talks clipped, professional. One night, at a shelter, a young mother clutched Eleanor's hand, sobbing, "I almost gave her up. Thank you for this." Zara watched, her expression unreadable, but she didn't look away. The campaign grew, drawing crowds, media, hope. Then, a tip came. Cole, spotted at a derelict warehouse, planning a final strike. Eleanor's blood surged. She told Leo, who alerted the cops, but she couldn't wait. She grabbed a crowbar from the studio and headed out, Zara catching her at the door. "What are you doing?" Zara demanded. Eleanor's voice was steel. "Ending this." Zara grabbed her arm. "You're not a hero. You'll get killed." Eleanor pulled free. "I started this mess. I finish it." Zara's eyes flashed. "You don't get to die for me," they argued, voices rising, until Zara shoved past, grabbing her coat. "I'm coming," Eleanor protested, but Zara's glare silenced her. "He's my fight too." They took a cab to the warehouse, the air crackling. Police were en route, but time was short. The warehouse was dark, crates stacked high. Eleanor and Zara crept in, crowbar and flashlight in hand. A voice echoed Cole's barking orders. "Monroe's campaign ends tonight. Burn it all." Eleanor signaled Zara to stay low, but a crate shifted, crashing. Cole's men spun, guns drawn. Eleanor swung the crowbar, cracking one's wrist, his gun skittering. Zara tackled another, her flashlight smashing his face. Bullets flew, splintering wood. Eleanor dove, shielding Zara, a graze searing her shoulder. Cole charged, knife flashing. Eleanor parried with the crowbar, metal clanging, and kicked his knee, dropping him. Zara grabbed his knife, pinning him. "It's over," she spat. Police stormed in, cuffing Cole, his men subdued. Eleanor slumped, blood trickling, but Zara's hand steadied her. "You're insane," Zara muttered, voice shaky. Eleanor managed a weak smile. "For you." At the campaign's finale, a packed auditorium buzzed, banners proclaiming, "Hope for all." Eleanor and Zara took the stage, the crowd roaring. Eleanor gripped the mic, voice steady. "I failed my daughter once, ran from shame. Today I stand with her, proud because she's stronger than I ever was." Zara's eyes glistened, and she spoke, voice clear. "Love isn't perfect. It's messy, hard, but it can rebuild, restart." She took Eleanor's hand, the crowd erupting. Backstage they embraced, Zara's voice a whisper. "I don't hate you anymore." Eleanor's heart swelled, tears falling. The campaign soared, shelters funded, lives changed. Cole was behind bars, his empire dust. Eleanor and Zara weren't whole, not yet, but they were building, step by step, under the light they'd fought for. Eleanor and Zara, once torn apart, reunite to inspire millions. Thank you for listening. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell to never miss our latest stories of redemption and hope.